Hi guys, Martin here. A huge thank you to every single one of our monthly supporters. Without your support, we can't do what we do on a weekly basis. Not yet a supporter? Why not? Please consider supporting us monthly. Anything you give, from £1 upwards, anything at all, is greatly appreciated and helps grow the platform. We've come so far in a year, let's go even further in the next. Thank you. However, if your monthly budget is a bit like mine, a bit sporadic, and you're not quite sure where you are, then please consider giving us on a one-off donation basis. We do, of course, accept those and really cherish every single one of those as well. The link for monthly and a one-off is exactly the same. It's all on Ko-Fi. Head there, and thank you so much. One more thing before you do go. As you can see on this beautiful screen with nobody here, we have a few advertise here spaces. So if you are a part of a company looking to reach a wider audience, or in charge of your own company, self-employed, I think they call that, and you'd like to reach a bigger audience and grow your business as we hopefully come out of this lockdown, hopefully progress into a new future, a brighter future, then please do leave a comment or find me on Twitter or Facebook, or of course email me. Email is in the description, or it is homedressing89@gmail.com. Let's together go forward. Right.
Hello and welcome to Portman Road. This sound indicates an important announcement.
Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and do not adjust your times. We are a little bit earlier today. It is an Easter Sunday special. Happy Easter to you all, one and all. Colin Plum, good afternoon, my friend. Happy Easter to you and your family as well. Owen, Stephen again. So there's two Stephens in the room. We need some nicknames there. Beep, Beep, and Stephen. There we go. We've set that up nice and early. Neil, good afternoon. Happy Easter to you all. Irv, legend. Did you have a game this weekend? Let us know in that chat. Welcome, one and all. So, this might be a little bit more of a measured podcast than normal. We're now out of that 24-hour high and low I like to talk about post Bristol Rovers, post any game, but post Bristol Rovers in this case. So it might be a little bit more of a measured approach to podcasting, more of a normal way of doing it. I don't know how Talking Town can do normal, but this might be as close as we get to it. As always, we thank you all for your support. We thank you all for giving up any time that you do with us at any point, but particularly on a Sunday with the weather looking so wonderful. Joining me in the studio is two people. First of all, he is, of course, our resident media mogul, the one who brought you the takeover exclusive. Matthew, welcome in, my man. How you doing?
How you doing? Happy Easter, everybody. How are you all doing?
Doing well. Of course, we must remember we are going early today because the Ipswich Town women's team are back in action. The first game since December. And do you know what, Matt? I am really proud. This is the only platform that again picked up the torch and shone the light on the women's game. I've not seen anyone else do it, anyone else say anything about it, but here we are, front and central, as always, in Talking Town Towers. So I'm really pleased, really proud of that. Hopefully,
done a few shows women's team now, haven't we? We've done
Yeah.
the Joe Sheehan one with a couple of the girls. 2 or 3, I think we've done. Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah,
Really good.
yeah. Hopefully they'll kick it off with a win, beat Billericay. It is, of course, live on Billericay's YouTube page. We're going to try and get done before the game if we can. This is Talking Town. We can run over. We do know that. But hopefully I'll drop a link as the show is closing to where that is if you'd like to go and check it out. So, I mean, it's forgotten, isn't it, really, that we did bring the exclusive for that takeover. People like to forget that.
Yeah, we're all about having a go at other people's opinions, aren't we?
We are.
All that kind of thing. Billericay's my neck of the woods, by the way. It's only like 5 miles away from here. So it would be nice to go down there. It's decent little ground down there. It's good.
Yeah, my dad was born in Billericay, so
nice.
very close to my heart. Curtis Yates, who had an absolute brilliant debut. I'm not seeing a debut like Curtis's, maybe apart from Dean Bowditch at Watford against Watford. Morning, boys. Just got notification. No need for a concert in the shower. When conditions are the best pod in town. There you go. Absolutely beautiful. Love it. Colin, happy Easter, Matt. Love you on the chat. Up the girls. Give them some 4-0.
Here's Colin. Colin was good. I enjoyed Colin as well on the show the other day. Very good.
Hey, young, more senior, male, female. Doesn't matter on this platform.
Good.
If you bleed blue, you're welcome. That's the most important.
Colin has seen us lift trophies.
Yes. Well, there is still an option and a chance that we could lift the trophy this year. Let's start to unpack Bristol Rovers before I bring the cruncher in. Who he said he didn't knock off work till 1, but he sat in the VIP area. So I'm not sure if his boss knows that.
He was very busy gardening yesterday, wasn't it, everyone? Yes. Crunch was on a big gardening stint yesterday.
Yes, he was. Yeah, he sent some lovely photos. Not sure when he starts the job, but
green-fingered.
When he does start it, I'm sure it'll be good. I'm joking. So Rovers 2-1. The most. I think I called it in my description the most unconvincing. It was just it was a 2-1 win, but it didn't feel like a win, did it? It felt hollow as an Easter egg.
Do you know what? When he started and we were 2 up in 10 minutes, and Hawks had said on the show, didn't he? I think we're going to win 4-0. I was like, oh my God, he's got it spot on. And then it was after that 10 minutes, he just sort of tailed off for whatever reason. I don't know.
I bought it.
The first goal was quite. The first goal was quite. Was quite. Can't even say it. It was quite lucky, fortuitous. I was going to say because in the lead up, Jackson slips over. They tried to clear it, came off Edwards, clips the defender, and Lee. They gave it as an own goal, didn't they? So I mean, look, we've had a lot of bad luck go against us in games this season, and we'll take that all day. But yeah, it looked like it was going to be an absolute schlepping, didn't it? But it didn't turn out that way. Weirdly. See,
the first goal, it was a bit of a mess, but that's what happens when you get bodies around the box. That's what 2 up front can give you.
Yes.
For once, we flew out of the traps. We didn't stumble out of them. How many times this year have we stumbled out of the locker room?
Not even had a shot in the first half sometimes.
We've often gone a goal down inside 10 minutes, Matt. Fleetwood, for example, goal down inside 10. We've often stumbled. So it was nice to see us really fly out of the traps. We let them back in, let's be honest. Second goal, their first goal was through a mistake, which I'm sure we'll unpack as we go. But yeah, another big one tomorrow. Right, it's 8 minutes to. He's sat in the VIP area. Let's bring him in. He is the man that causes controversy, but always brings that hard truth. The Cruncher, how you doing?
Try to get me in trouble with my boss.
What?
Look, the sun's shining, got my shades on.
So it's funny you should say that, right? Because I'm a big mafia geek, if you like. And Michael Francis, he has a YouTube channel, and his intro is your intro. So it's amazing you come on the show looking like somebody.
I was coming in disguise. Just a bit of a shout out to the Blue Action Boys because no one knows who they are.
No. I'll tell you what, though. We've had a few requests in the chat, so we've got to play it. Look at that face.
Don't look like that now, do I? Look.
No, you certainly
That's
don't.
what I got my hat on.
Corporate crunch is the equivalent of corporate pain. You
Anyway,
know you can deliver a choke slam out of
before you
nowhere.
try and get me in trouble with my boss, because I know he'll be watching, I did do my 8 hours, and I knocked off at the correct time. So do not try and stitch me up. And anyway, and don't speak about gardening, because that guy up there in the right-hand corner, he's got his own gardener, haven't you? And your butler, Matt.
Yeah, gardener, butler,
Very good.
instructor. Got it all.
It's called Anthony Gardner. How about that? His actual name is Anthony Gardner.
Julian Hughes, golf coach. At least we know Hannah Takeover is off. No, do we? Said who? There's so many mistruths flying around about the takeover. But
First I've heard of it.
Likewise. So let's stick on Bristol Rovers for a second. We will get to takeover news, takeover rumour. We'll get to Luke Chambers this morning, the news coming out of there. We'll get to Rochdale. Let's first stick with Bristol Rovers. Keep our eyes on what was three valuable points. I read something this morning that apparently Lee O'Neill has been walking around Playford Road telling Paul Cook 1 win in 6. I don't know if that was true or somebody was having a tongue-in-cheek comment. But let's just sit on the focus of that's true for a moment. My opinion of Lee O'Neill's gone up tenfold.
He's been listening to you. He's been listening to you too much. We need to mute that WhatsApp chat, don't we, Matt, with the amount of drivel he's been coming out with.
Yeah, he's still pro Lambert, aren't you, Martin?
I'm pro winning football games, as obviously is Lee O'Neill. 1 win in 6. You know, if he was.
Wow, he didn't seem that pro over the last 18 months when we went from top to 11th or whatever it was. But there you go.
Did you say we come flying out the traps?
We did.
No, we didn't. They were toiling for 15 minutes. We hardly come flying out the traps. They gifted us an own goal and we scored another goal. I'd hardly call that flying out the traps.
You're only as good at... Hang on. They were toilet first 15, or did we press? Were we hungry? Were we on it for the first 15? I think Andre's... I think the pressing from the front was really good first 15. That goal shows it. It went long into the centre. Jackson goes up. Norwood's around Jackson. You've got other players around. We've got bodies around the box. It was nice to see. What is it about fans that want quickly to write off a front two? Like, I've seen so many fans say, "Oh, it didn't work. Write it off."
We can't play 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2, 3-5. Whatever we play, we're shit at it. We are. Let's be fair. He needs to get a few results at the minute, and that's all. He's going to try different things. I know you were quite sort of smug that they played 2 up front because you like to be right as normal, don't you, Matt?
Says you two, king and queen of the flouncer land.
But look, the 2 strike. I thought we had 4 strikers on the pitch during that game, and probably, I know you're not going to like this, Aaron Drinan probably looked the best out of the 4 of them.
Hang on, you can't say they were toilet and then say someone looked really good out of the best. I mean,
I'm not saying, look, it's a very low bar. It's a very low bar. I thought he was lucky not to get a second yellow. Matt doesn't think it was a second yellow card because you slowed it down, didn't you?
Oh yeah, the guy he backed him like that, and the guy went into his shoulder. He didn't elbow him or anything. That was a good call from the referee. Yeah, I watched it back a couple of times because Mike was going, "He's going to get a red."
But he'll play tomorrow. Drinan will be in the starting 11, won't he?
I thought it was weird that he got the nod as the first substitute over Parrott. But then, you got the next Harry Kane sitting on your bench, apparently. And then Drinan comes on. But who didn't score at all for Sutton in the non-league. But maybe Parrott was tired. He'd come back from Ireland, had played in Qatar, hadn't they, midweek?
I had long flight.
So maybe that's what they were thinking. But I thought Drinan did all right when he come on. I mean, I love that run where he really was at breakneck speed and won a corner out of nothing. That's what you want to see. We keep saying that we're not trying hard enough, Rich. And then
Did you just say breakneck speed? Did you just say breakneck speed?
For a sloth.
I
mean, yeah. And in sloth world, that's quick. Yeah, no.
He was moving.
The issue.
He got a corner out enough. Fair play to him.
The issue with Aaron Drinan is that he doesn't score goals, and if your striker's not scoring goals, and your midfielders aren't scoring goals, and your defenders aren't scoring goals, you're not going to score goals.
No.
So,
Caden Jackson, how many goals has he scored then mine this season?
How many real chances has he had?
Yeah, but you can't keep saying that. You can't keep saying how many chances. How many chances is Drinan? When does Drinan get a good ball in front of him? It's a lump over the top. He's got to fight for it.
Nobody does.
No, they don't.
Which is why fans often call Norwood our best striker, because he does finish those rare chances. I still think you have to go with the two up top. You have to, because
I don't disagree.
It forces teams to react differently to you. It forces teams to be wary of on the counter. You've got Norwood with his strength, Jackson with his pace.
But why, Martin, does everyone think, oh, we're going to write off that partnership? That was the partnership last season. Norwood and Jackson. It's not like a new thing, is it? That's what we had for most of the season.
Yeah, fans like to be right, don't they? Cruncher was all adamant he would never go from 4-2-3-1. Fans like to be right. Let's be honest. We all like to be right on our own way. And I think the moment you go away from what you've said is going to happen, you want to try and claw it back and say, oh, look, it didn't work. That's why you won't try it again. The simple fact is we won.
Tweedy's making a good point there. Drinnan wasn't awful. I rate his work rate, but he still needs to go in the summer. Yeah. I'd argue we probably need a complete new strike force in the summer, really. And probably we'll get one, I hope, fingers crossed.
You want James Norwood, Crunch, as your third, don't you? Because you want somebody like him. I wouldn't say
it's my third. I wouldn't say he wouldn't be first choice. I just think it's when you look at our recruitment, because we're probably going to touch on that in a little bit. You look at the recruitment of Norwood. There wasn't really a lot of thinking there. At the age he was at, look, he probably would have been able to do the job. If we'd have done our stuff last season, it would have worked. He'd have got us promoted. But look, we can go in why we didn't. But there's no sell-on value because is he 30 now? He's got a year left on his contract. He's only if he goes, he's only going to go for a nominal fee. So, but he's probably, is he our highest earner at the minute, Norwood?
Probably.
He's completed 4 90 minutes this season. We're into April, and he still isn't fit. Now, next season, he's going to play the one up top. We need someone who can play week in, week out. Who, look, they're going to get a few knocks, but they're going to be able to play. Someone like, I'm not saying like, someone like Murphy in that sort of ilk, someone who's strong, who can take the knocks, but he can score goals as well. So, look, Norwood, I'm not his biggest fan, but I still think he will probably be here because I know everyone says it's going to be a complete clear out. Then he's not going to get rid of everybody, is he? They're not all going to go.
I'm going to surprise you here, Matt. I would be in favour of keeping Drinnan. If you provide, no. This is it. If you play a 4-2-3-1, the role of the one is what Drinnan can bring: work rate, muscle, chase down those lost causes for that corner as you've mentioned. It's the fact those one players always look better if you've got 3 behind who can score goals. Think of Hawkins for Portsmouth when he had Ronan Curtis and players around him who were better and scored goals. If you can provide a 3 around Drinnan who get, I don't know, 10 each, I'm okay with Drinnan.
That's what Freddie said, didn't he? When he said it's the 3 behind. That's a really good comment there from Michael Finch. He's right, because we do knock sort of signal out players, but it's the collective. It is the collective. The whole lot of them are crap.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, on paper, the Norwood recruitment was good. When did Ipswich ever go out and actually get a striker that set the league below?
Was it?
Which he did do.
Was it, though?
But he was never injured at Tranmere. Comes to us. What did Cook say at the weekend? Never had a club like it for injuries. Even he's shocked by it. So obviously that tells you everything you need to know. There's obviously something going on behind the scenes there. But yeah, I thought the Norwood recruitment was good. I think everyone was happy with that. He came
just
here.
Wants to you just want to keep that poster. You just want to keep that poster so you get some value out of it, don't you? Because you might have to cut. Maybe you could superimpose someone's head on Hawkins, couldn't you? Maybe next season.
Hull City wanted him, Rich. Hull City wanted Norwood, and we offered him more money. Tells you everything, doesn't it? Hull City were in the chat at the time.
Yeah, they're welcome to him. I wasn't in favour of it because at the time it was our marquee signing, and I remember having a conversation with Joe Fairs in the Radio Suffolk studio. Crunch, you were there, and I said, "I'm not." I said, "I'm live on air. I'm not. It's not impressed me at all, that signing, and it still hasn't. It still hasn't because." If you're looking at this whole Windows 95 joke going around this week with the whole recruitment analysts, look at Brentford, look at Peterborough. Yeah, my joke, the best joke there is. When you get Norwood, what's his future? Because, or is he at his ceiling already? Do you know what I mean? Like look at Peterborough, you buy players to sell on, don't you? Or
you
develop.
Said that, Matt, about Norwood. You looked at where Norwood played his football before, National League, League Two.
Oh yeah. All of the majority of his games have been in the National League.
He started as a midfielder, didn't he? He was a midfielder.
I he's done. I think I've seen him play for England C, the England non-league team. I think it was against Belgium or someone. But I mean, fair play to him. He said he's gone from the non-league into playing for Ipswich Town. Fair play. That's a
and
really
he probably
good journey.
is our best striker.
If we can get him fit in the summer, he's got. I think a little bit. I said it before on the pod, and I know, like with the lockdown before, I don't think he looked after himself, and because he had that injury, didn't he? And when he came back, he wasn't fit to start the season. Now, if he goes away in the summer and looks after himself and comes back, hits the ground running, has a good pre-season, look, he's still an asset, I think, in this league. I still think he can score goals, but he wouldn't be my number one. He wouldn't.
No. He'd be
He
the
got,
bad man.
he got linked to Dundee United, didn't he, with Mickey Mellon went up there, his old manager at Tranmere. Now, I would have been pro that if we could have got Lawrence Shankland, who's a really quality striker, but of course they probably want to partner Norwood with Shankland. We should have got Shankland when he was at Ayr United. I mean, Luke Penny used to talk about that on Twitter. Really good up-and-coming striker, plays for Scotland now. So maybe he should have gone there. Maybe he should have gone there and we could have got someone else in. But, it's fine lines, these things, isn't it?
Did you hear the guy on Radio Suffolk, Matt? The old boy they had on after the Bristol Rovers game when he said about Drinnan, he'd play him on the right-hand side, on the wing.
I didn't hear that.
He said he'd play, because he was talking about players that stay, and he said he'd play Drinnan there, and then he said he'd play Luke Wolfenden in the holding role in midfield.
I'll behave. But
who's he, Graham Potter?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think you've got to look at Norwood next season as your Bam Bam to Johnson and Stewart. He's got to be that guy off the bench, because if you keep him on the bench and bring him off the bench, you might get twice as many games out of him, which means twice as many goals, which I'm all in favour for. Because he can finish a chance when he comes in his way. I mean, obviously hit the post at home to, was it Oxford? Should have really scored, but he hit the target. I mean, for me, that's hitting the target. I know the stats would probably tell me it didn't hit the target, but I always think that's hitting the target. But there we go. Let's bring George in. George, welcome in, my man. What did you think of Friday's
George.
performance?
Hi.
I know.
Shit.
George, we got 3 points. We got 3 points. Sometimes you got to win while playing badly, right?
Win ugly.
Yeah, but we only win against, basically the teams are crap. We can never beat a top 10 team, can we? It's been like this for seasons.
We'll be all right then, George, because look who we got left.
We've had the odd victory against top six, haven't we? We've had the odd victory. We beat Hull, didn't we? That was a great victory. That was a good win.
But we can never beat teams like Peterborough and teams like that. Them teams should be scared to come to Portman Road, and it's like a day out at the bloody fairground with teams coming to Portman Road, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, but luckily we won't have to play them again this year, so that's fine. Because either we won't get in the playoffs or they're gonna.
But another thing I was thinking of, we had an opportunity to sign Johnson Clark Harris, and we end up with the bloody donkey Hawkins that can't even hit a ball in a brothel.
Yeah, that was disappointing. Yeah, we've said that before, haven't we? You're linked to £1 million striker, and you get someone for nothing who's not.
And then you could be linked with anyone, Matt.
Emotional rival.
You could be linked with him. It don't mean we were ever interested, really.
No. You'd like to think at this tier we'd be in with a chance to get these players.
But the thing is, I was looking at the reports that we pay for agents and that, and we're one of the top ones. What the hell is that Evans doing?
A lot of money going out of the game, that was it? 300.
We get all these crap players that won't end up at any other team, and we pay high wages and things like that.
A lot of times, George, I think you've got to look at when we do our business and the manner in which we do our business. And I think agents are not idiots. They know desperation when they smell it and when they see it. And how many times have we waited to the last moment before we're bringing in players? And the fees go up because agents know, I've got you by the short and curlies. I've got you here, and I ain't going to let it go because I know you want this player or you need this player. Look how many times Red Varney came back, bless him.
Look at the agents' fees. Did you see the agents' fees in the Premier League, though?
I don't get this. Like all this upset by fans about agents.
I'm not upset. I just think
it's part of the game. It ain't my money.
It is.
It ain't my money. Spend what you like because I'm not paying the bill. Matt, talk to me about agents. Go on, George.
I think a lot when we did struggle, this is seasons ago, when Murphy left, we never replaced him with a target man. we got in that bloody Leon Best on a free transfer. You sell your striker a couple of hours before the transfer, before the window shuts, and you get a free agent.
Best radio stuff at Cool ever, that was.
What do you think of Leon Best? Leon Best? Beeping shit, mate. But quality.
Hey, good point, though.
But the thing is, if you're sorry. I was just going to say, if your striker puts in a transfer request and you've got no one lined up, you don't say to it, Evans can't then say to him, "Oh, we'll let you go and not bring anyone else in." You wait until the next transfer window when you've got longer time to bring a recognised striker into the club.
Yeah, but look at that. And look at Waghorn's deal, right? They let it rumble on so long that by the time something happens, a la Joey Garner, fans can't do nought about it, because suddenly you blink and Garner's gone to Wigan, Waghorn's gone to Derby, and you're left with what? A League Two striker making 2 jumps up? I mean...
All about timing, isn't it? McCarthy, when Murphy went, they tried to get Connor Washington, didn't they? They couldn't get the deal done. Again, like George is alluding to there, didn't have enough time to probably get the deal done.
Yeah. And the fee goes up because clubs know you're up against the clock. You know, you're up against it here.
I thought we wanted Connor Wickham.
Look, no.
Wishful thinking, that, mate.
Well,
that was mentioned, though.
That was Lambert.
That wasn't as funny as you think it is, though. Really, like if the clubs want to pay a fee or the parent club wants him out playing regular games, then that's not as funny as it
depends what the context of the deal would be, wouldn't it? Because would they just have paid his wages for him to come and get football with us? That's a possibility.
Absolutely. Yeah. George, if Norwood can't go tomorrow, which we expect him not to be able to, would you start with one up top, or would you bring Drilling in next to Jackson? What would you do for tomorrow?
Probably 4-4-2, because that's where our goals come from at the weekend, wasn't it? High press up the field.
Okay, fair enough.
You want players that want to be here next season. It doesn't seem to me that Jackson wants to be here. It's just head's not in it, is it?
I agree there. I agree with George there. I think Jackson's been... Look, I think we give him a player of the year, didn't we, Matt, last season when we done our review. I think he's been really poor, and I think he had his head turned, I think, in the summer. Then he obviously fell out with Lambert, and I totally agree with George there. He's not really shown anything. He was on the pitch, how long was he on the pitch? 65 minutes on Friday? You wouldn't have known he was on there.
He did make as we said at the top of the show, he did make the first goal, although he slipped over in order to cause a bit of chaos. But you've got to feel sorry for Jackson, right? He's got his head turned, right? He his head turned by Huddersfield and Bournemouth. Probably wanted to go to Huddersfield in the last window. Then he's been embarrassed and to have to train with the under-23s in front of his peer group. Quite embarrassing. Now he's come back in and we would expect him to be bloody messy. He's only human. Do you know what I mean? He's not been treated well by Lambert, I don't think.
No, he really hasn't. George, as always, appreciate it, buddy. Look after yourself.
Cheers, George.
Before I bring Kurt in, Matt, agent fees always baffles me, because if I employ Rich as my representation, why have you got to pay Rich and not me? I don't ever get why football clubs end up paying the representation. Massively
weird setup. And I remember, working in the game, people didn't like the agents because it was money going out of the game. Like Rich is saying, have you seen? I've not seen the list. Have you seen the agent fees going out of the Premier League? That's money going out of the game.
About 250 million, Matt.
Yeah, do you know what I
think it was over 100 in the Championship, and I agree with you there. That money's disappearing out of the game.
That's just going into some fat cat's wallet. We talk about grassroots facilities. It's going to cost. They used to say it cost £1 billion to upgrade the facilities in this country to make to have 3G pitches across the country for kids to be able to play on 24/7, 365. Yeah, you got 250 mil.
Interesting, you say. Just changing tack a little bit, Matt. They're interesting to say about 3G pitches. I was listening. I think it was 606 last week, and they were on about the return of non-league returns of football. They're on about Sutton United, so top of the conference.
Yeah,
they've got a 4G pitch, haven't they? And they use it. It's a real good community facility.
Yeah.
If they get promoted, they've got to rip it up.
Can't play there, can they? No.
Mental, because UEFA and that, they let them, because you've seen it in the Euros. I think even in the Champions League, teams have played with plastic. It's the EFL rules, and I think that is absolutely crazy.
Well, I tell you what, maybe if we give them back drilling, we can pay for it to be ripped up for them. There you go. That's a good deal, I think.
Do you remember when Wembley was first built? The pitch was terrible, wasn't it? Do you remember it kept cutting up?
Yeah.
So there's an element of 3G in that.
Yeah,
pitch.
they mix it in, don't they? mix
Yeah,
it.
they
They
mix
weave
it.
it in with the grass now.
And it was so secret how the company did it that when the tractors were going up and down the pitch at Wembley, because I was watching them from a hospitality box, they had a tent over the top so you couldn't see the technology. So you saw these tents driving up and down the pitches.
Brilliant.
So, but yeah, it's a weird situation with those pitches. You can't play in the Football League. Weird.
Talking of non-league, Adam Potter, one of the best non-league managers we've got in Suffolk. If it's as bad as we all think behind the scenes, none of the players would want to be here. This man, I'd run through walls for this man, and I can't even run. So that's how good he was.
I would say the players do want to be at Ipswich because they're getting a good wage and they've all been living in a comfort zone. So it's probably a good place to be. Now Cook's come in with higher standards.
See, I don't want anybody to lose their job, but at a football club with so many injuries, I'm amazed the medical department hasn't had a great big snow globe shake. Because
I see one of the sports science guys went the other day, didn't he? Did you see that? Did you see one of the sports science guys? Yeah, he was. That was.
Where do you see this news? Because you tell me Luke Matheson's injured. Nobody else can confirm it with me.
I didn't know that.
No, nobody knew that. Nobody knew that.
Is Hughes injured? Is Hughes injured? We've not seen him for months.
He got injured. Matheson got injured at lunchtime, Matt, playing headers and volleys at school.
That was a great game. That was a great game. It really was. Facebook user, look what happened with the goal trip. We let him go because of injuries. When it comes to Sheffield United, he plays almost every.
Captain yesterday. He was the captain for them at Leeds yesterday.
Even he admitted it was the comfort zone at Ipswich. We let him travel from Nottingham, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
you know,
there you go.
Sitting in the car, he's got a bad groin. Oh yeah,
let's bring in the man, the myth, the absolute legend, following an absolute stellar 9 out of 10, possibly a 10.
He'll smile today. He'll smile because I tried to. Are you going to smile?
There he is. He just smiled. He just smiled.
He can't get up for the camera now. He can't get up for the microphone now. Look at him.
You got wind.
Still a smirk today, boys. It's
the talking town. It's the talking town. Gabriel Batistuta. How are you?
All right, mate. All right. Touching on strikers, it doesn't matter what striker we have up front of this club. We'd make Johnson Clark Harris look National League. It don't matter. There's a reason why players come to this club and die a death unless you're Wagon and you have one half decent season. He's not pulled up trees at Derby. Like it don't matter what striker you have at this club. We will make sure that we kill them of any talent they have.
You said that the other week, Curtis. We were on about. I think Martin was on about Charlie Wyke at Sunderland. McGeady's laying all them chances you'll see him score, probably in the 6-yard box. He's laying them on a plate. We've got no one to create anything.
Who's the lad who comes in on the chat? Is it Jonathan, the Peterborough fan? He said you wouldn't make good use of Clark Harris because you don't put any decent balls into the box for him.
Exactly.
Only good as your service, aren't you?
Who's our creator then? Oh wait, it's Andre Dazelle. Crunch, you can't be saying we can't create chances while also praising Andre Dazelle. He's
the latest scapegoat then, is it? Chambers has moved on and now we're on to Andre, are we?
Yeah, I get upset with that term scapegoat because it's not a scapegoat if it's right, if it's true. Like he's not. I've asked.
No, not everyone was in agreement with you two.
Nobody can tell me. Like I asked our ITFC analytic. Well, I didn't ask them, but they came in on the chat. Give me something that I can hang my hat on and say, yeah, he's progressed. I got an Etch a Sketch in reply. I
do agree. He does need to do more. He does need to do a lot more. I tweeted this morning. I think it's going to be really interesting going forward how Cook uses him. I think
this time next year it will be. Trent Andre might get 90 minutes tomorrow. I think he'll be off the bench again. I reckon he'll be phased out. Kurt, what do you think? You've seen the games I've seen. What do you think?
I wouldn't be surprised if not this summer coming, next summer, he's at another League One club. It really wouldn't surprise me because good players stand out in shit teams. Good players stand out in shit teams, and for me, his mannerism's lazy, but I think that's just him. But he's so
dad was like that, Curtis.
Exactly, he's so lethargic on the ball though. He's so lethargic. Like when he grabs it, he's like people say he's looking for that forward pass, but Bristol Rovers proved it. I mean, he grabbed the ball, he turned into danger of 2 people charging him down, and
got pressed quick, didn't he?
It's like what Mick Mill said. What Mick Mill said, he had the 2 other midfielders. They were too far apart. They were. He shouldn't play there. I agree. You shouldn't play there. But look, you see, if you watch the highlights, lads, of a game, say you watch the EFL show over a weekend, you'll see about 5 goals like that nowadays because they're all pissing about with it in areas where in the past it should just go forward. But they all want to play football.
I think with Andre, he always feels like he's got loads and loads of time on the ball, doesn't he? That's the issue. But again, it's quite interesting because when he got tackled and the lad who scored the goal, McCormack, on loan from Chelsea.
Good player.
What a great goal. What a great goal. We've seen it again. We keep saying how good our youngsters are. Then you get a Scott Twine coming from Swindon.
He's out of contract, Matt. He's out of contract at Chelsea in the summer.
So is Twine. I think.
Both are.
I said about him the other week.
Twine scores an absolute worldie from 30 yards. Our lads never do that.
He's got 10 goals, Matt.
And then you've got McCormack. Then you've got McCormack chipping a 6'9" keeper.
My issue is a player who can play at a higher level receives that ball and has a picture in his mind already. He knows where his two midfielders are. He knows where the danger is. He knows, look, it's got to go straight back to Holy. There was a conversation on Facebook between a fan and Holy, and I think even Holy himself, if I remember correctly, said, I was there to have it back. Andre doesn't ever have a picture in his mind when he receives a ball. That's my biggest criticism, which is why I don't think he can play at a higher level. I really don't. I don't see what people see.
I don't agree with you. I think it's the. I said the other week, it's the players in front of him. There's got to be movement in the team. And who've we got? Judge, Edwards. I can't even remember who else did we have in the midfield there on.
We've had Keenan
another
Bennett
one.
left,
people creaming themselves over Teddy Bishop because he had half a decent game. He's still living on the 14-15 season, guys. He's another average player. And if you keep him, say we keep it, I think Bishop will probably get another year. Where are you going to use him? Where does he fit in?
No, you don't give him another year. You don't give him another year. He stayed fit. He stayed fit this year, but he's not shown anything. Like, again, if I'm hammering Andre for progression, where's Teddy's progression? It isn't happening. So go away. Do it somewhere else. Good luck to you. We love you. Always respect you. Always want you. But bye-bye.
I agree there, Mike. Because I think Teddy's got a lot of ability, but he's another player who it might benefit him to go away from the comfort zone at Ipswich because he's been there from a kid to go and play somewhere else. And he might play 46 games and he might rip it up. If he does, fair play to him. But I think sometimes you need to move on. You've been somewhere too long and you're too comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. Curtis, you like me have been calling for a change of philosophy, change of tactical approach from Sir Cookie. He did it this weekend. Norwood might not be able to make tomorrow. So what would you do?
I mean, the choice of the four strikers. The choice of the four strikers we had on Friday was near on dreadful. But I think the one that showed the most promise is unfortunately Drinan. And the problem is we can all obviously say that Drinan's not good enough for the team, which he absolutely isn't. He's not good enough to be in the club. But unfortunately, he's been thrust into a position out of necessity. Really, I think this is all because the owner didn't invest in the right areas, and therefore we're now playing people who aren't possibly qualified to even be at our club. And to be honest, that could go for a lot of our youngsters as well. I think we rely heavily on a lot of our youngsters. Like Dobra, who I think is way too lightweight to be playing in that first team at the moment. Might be good, but I think he needs a loan. I think Crawley would have done him well. In terms of what we should play tomorrow, I think we'd have to go 4-4-2 again. I think you'd have to partner Drinan with Jackson. Again, whether it starts with 4-4-2 and then drifts off after about the 20th minute, like I think it did against Bristol Rovers. Because I said I think Cook's game plan on Friday was start 4-4-2 and then do what's necessary to try and get the win. Because like Mick Mill said on radio something, he said he didn't even know what formation they were trying to play on Friday. He said second half, like I say, Wolfenden was drifting from right back to right centre half, and then you caught him in midfield. No one knew what they were doing. I think it was very much a case of just do what you need to do, Sunday League style, play where you need to play, and just try and do whatever you can because the squad's poor. The squad is poor. Like I don't think any, like you said, Rich, before. I don't think any of them really know how to play any formation that's given to them because I think they all are, or they're all equally as shit as each other.
Kurt, what about tomorrow going a bit more direct and playing Hawkins up with Jackson, using his height? But I'm saying, just for now, Martin, you've just got to get some results, and it doesn't matter how we get them.
How are you getting results with Hawkins up front?
Well, is he any worse than Drinan?
Was he even on the bench Friday? I think
no, he played at Norwich. He played 45 at
Norwich.
Yeah,
of course he did. Yeah, with Keenan Bennett in there. Yeah, that's right.
I'd have Hawkins on bench, but I wouldn't start him. Again, he's another one who I'd whip on at about the 45th minute, 60th minute. See if we can wear him down up front with a big man there. But let's face it, we're going into these games almost praying for someone to take. I don't see our players taking pot shots anymore. I'd love for our players to take pot shots, but they don't take pot shots. They piss about outside the box, and they try and send in these meaningless crosses, which always end up hitting the first man.
Yeah,
and it's
frustrating.
We don't even tell our players to shoot anymore. And then when they get in a good position, you think, go on, just have a dig. And then when they do, it's a daisy cutter across the floor. It's pointless. All we're doing now as fans is hoping. I don't think any fan can really say there's much excitement right now as to what we can achieve this season. We hope that we can get into the playoffs. We hope we can get promoted. But if we're realistic, I don't think it is going to happen. I think the team has proven not only this year but the previous 2, 3, 4 years. We are a club that just enjoy not the fan base, but ownership level, people in the backroom staff, no matter who it's been. I think we just love failure. I think our players. I don't think there's any pressure on our players. I mean, Chambers' comments this morning, they make me laugh because he's come out with it the same thing every season. He gets rolled out at the end of the season and says, "Oh well, my ambition's still the same for this club." Great, but how quiet have you been this season? How quiet were you last season? I don't care what anyone says. As a captain and as a man, he might be a perfectly great guy, but on the pitch, I've never seen a more quieter captain than what he has been the last 2 seasons. He doesn't shout the same way as he used to, and I think the time for a captain. I don't think there's anyone else there who can take the captaincy role. So I think we need to look for a captain in the summer. But I
think sometimes, Kurt, I know you sometimes look. We want a captain like in your Terry Butcher mould driving. I think sometimes now in football, look who we had when he was captain in 2000, Matt Holland. He didn't have to shout. It could be, but then that team was full of leaders. But he led by example. He led by example how he played, didn't he? And then people went with him.
Exactly. He had the quality to be a captain throughout his time. Chambers has done. Let's say first time when he came in, the club was in a poor position of what we believed was a poor position at that point. Little did we know that what we'd be at now. But Chambers has done nothing but go down in quality throughout his years, whereas Holland kept it at a consistent level throughout his time. And
we need men. We need men, Curtis. You look at that 2000 team. You had Venus, Mowbray, Agilton, Naylor, all of them. At the minute, who've we got? Men who are going to stand up. They might not be captain, but they have to stand up and be counted. And they haven't got anyone at the minute. They shrink. You see, Friday, look when they conceded that goal. Look at when we concede a goal. What do they all do? They slump their shoulders and just wander back to the halfway line. And then it's when they've let a goal in, they can't get themselves out of that mindset. We're so weak.
Okay, right. Luke Chambers obviously came out, I think, this morning or yesterday and said he absolutely wants to stay and his ambition for the club has unchanged. I'm dropping the link in the chat. If I want to ask the fans now, Luke Chambers, stay or go? It's as simple as that. And I'd like some opinion. Obviously, you three are first because you're on the show right now. Curtis, Luke Chambers for you. Next year, would you be here in some capacity? And if so, what capacity? Or would he be adios amigo?
As much as I love the guy, but his performances don't warrant another year. His performances don't warrant it. I think he needs a fresh start. So as does the club. I think he's not worth another year. It is now time we move on from having Chambers at right back, centre half, whatever it is. We need to invest properly and get someone who is actually worth the quality in those positions, because we can't afford to have these moments where he's slipping up or he's letting the ball go over his head anymore. It's time to invest in someone just a bit younger and someone who can shore up that back line and like I say, get another captain in, because it's not worked out for the last 2 years. So no, I wouldn't keep him.
Okay, perfect. Kurt, as always, love you, appreciate you. Crunch, what would you say? I've got a few keeps, and those that want to keep him, please come on the show, have your say, because I'd like to know what you're thinking behind that.
It's interesting.
Where are you?
It was interesting. I see Lee's Anderson's message in the comments there a while back about Chambers saying like there's going to be changes if the manager is allowed. That was what he alluded to. I would keep him. He wouldn't be first choice. I think as a squad player, backup right back, backup centre back. But I think personally he still wants to be playing because he said that earlier in the season. So. It's a tricky one, and I know. Look, he's look, no one can ever doubt. Look, we can moan about the amount of players we have injured. Too many injuries. Cook said it before, hasn't he? Luke Chambers, the reason why he's played the amount of games he has in his career, because he's fit for selection every single week. He's there. You know, he's not the best footballer. We all know that. And
so why
is he the best captain? Is he the best captain? No, he isn't. He isn't.
So why are you keeping him?
Because I think you could still get something out of him. I'm not saying 46 games. He's gonna. If you look this season, he will play the most amount of games out of anyone in that squad.
Okay.
And he's at 35. So I think Cook's spoken highly of him. I've seen his interview the other day. He said he's been excellent. And I think he'll stay. Personally, it's a 50-50 one. And I know a lot of people say we need to get rid of him. I don't agree with people saying he should go into coaching. It's not a retirement home. It's a professional football club. And are we going to keep Scoot as a coach as well? No, we're not.
Okay.
So I would keep him. I wouldn't be sad if he left, but I think, and another thing, I think he deserves a testimonial because you don't get many players who've stayed at a club for that length of time.
Okay. All right. Matt, before I let you answer, I've got two people coming in. So we're going to discuss Chambers, and we're going to discuss some blue action over the weekend with King Cali. Adam Potter, first of all, says, go. He is a defeated man and poor performance too. A captain cannot be defeated. Cillian Moran, if he wants to football, he has to go. Keeping the club as a coach, maybe keep him. I'll bring Dave Eaton in first. Dave, welcome in, my man. First time I think I've spoken to you on the show. Nice to see a new face. How are you?
Dave.
Oh, you're a bit behind, Dave.
Hi, guys.
Can you stick your volume up a bit, Dave? We can't hear you.
I've got problems here.
That's okay. I'll bring you back in a second, Dave. Try and fix those problems for us. I'll bring Lee in because I know Lee wants to keep. I want to get his opinion before I bring you in, Max. I've got a few questions about why to keep. Lee, keep. Why?
Hey, Lee.
Hi, guys. Keep him, as I think I'm a bit like Crunch, really. Keep him as backup. You want to move the club forward. So I would keep him as a backup. Get somebody else in. But what you've got to remember with him, he can play centre-back and he can play right-back. So if you're looking to shrink your squad and reduce your 51 players, you're going to want a player that maybe can play more than one position. So if he's your backup, not only can he play centre-back, he ticks the box, he can play right-back as well. So that's another reason to keep him. The only thing I'd be cautious with it is that obviously if he's not playing every game, he's not going to be the captain. And that's a big shoe to fill because listening or reading his interview today, he was talking about how Cook has let him still manage the players. So there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, isn't it? He keeps the group together. So he's keeping them all on their toes. Obviously, probably gets them to train. And there's lots of things that go on at the training ground. Cook turns up and all the players are there. So someone has to fill that. But that's not a reason just to keep him. But you've got to get the balance right. It's a bit like in cricket, isn't it? When you get a new captain in, like you have your one-day captain, then you have your test match captain, and you've got that conflict there, perhaps. So that would be the concern for me. A new captain coming in, where does that fit then for Chambers if he's not?
Could be club captain. Could be club captain, Lee, maybe.
Yeah. So that's the reason I keep him. I think he's still got something to offer, especially if we're in League One. But really, it's about reducing your squad and having a player that can play in two positions as a backup. Because, if you did have Kane Vincent-Young, say, if he was fit at right back and he got injured again, I'll just use him as an example. You've got someone that can come in for 2 or 3 games that can do a job for you, especially in League One. That's why
my issue here is, Lee, if you've got him as a backup, that is a 35-year-old standing in the way of a young player at 2 positions, both centre half and at right back. Because really, when you're a third-tier football club, regardless of takeover money or not, you want senior pro, young player. That's what you want up and down.
But they have to be good enough, mine. This is the problem with us.
Corey
and
Darber. He's good enough to come in for play 5-10 games a season if it's an injury crisis. He won't do that if Luke Chambers is here, though, because you'd shuffle Wolfie over, or you'd shuffle Toto over, or you'll shuffle Chambers over. And again, a young player is not coming through the system. Luke Chambers wants to play football, Matt. And Lee, I really appreciate your view. He doesn't want to be a backup. So the question really isn't about keeping him as a backup. It's about, do you keep him as a first team, or do you say This Band-Aid needs to be ripped off. We can't wait anymore. Yeah. It's going to hurt regardless of when. It just needs to happen. Bush.
Sorry. Go on, Matt. Sorry.
I was going to say, Lee made a really good point there, that you could have him in that kind of backup role. The issue I've got, and what you kind of alluded to there, is he's such a huge personality at Ipswich Town that if you brought someone in to be the captain for 46 games and it's not him, players are still going to go to him because he's so ingrained in the culture. So he's not going to go on forever. He's right in the twilight of his career now, when he at 35. So I would probably let him go, actually. So you've got a new manager, start afresh with a new captain. But we know Cook really likes him. And like Lee said down, what he brings day to day, Monday to Friday outside of game time. And we know he's housed the kids and all that kind of stuff. So that's absolutely fantastic. He would certainly deserve a testimonial. But as I said in one of the first shows we ever did, if anyone was still watching us back in the summer, I do still kind of blame him a little bit for getting relegated, because we hear Bart said the team had given up in that October. That should have come from Chambers and the Scoos and the leaders we've got there. So he's not going on forever. He's not going to go on forever, so I would say.
All right, Lee, I appreciate you. I'm going to try Dave again. Dave, how are we doing?
Hi, guys. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can try and turn you up. Luke Chambers, what is your thinking behind that, my man?
I think he's got to go. We don't need him anymore. He's a good servant to the club to a certain degree. Since he's arrived, we have actually been on a downward spiral. And like the pinnacle of his career is one playoff season.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Dave's a go, as in terms of Luke Chambers.
Yeah,
going.
You can't argue that. They're facts. You can't argue it.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I think Crunch has got a point in regards to sort of manage, or whoever it was, managing the dressing room around that.
It's
period.
the culture, isn't it? It is the culture. If you keep Chambers, because that culture does need to change, because it has been a downward spiral. I listened to Chambers after the game the other day. He was the interview on the website, and you can see when he talks, guys, it's like a burden on him. I think the club.
So like Bishop, maybe it's best for him as well.
You need a break. It might be. I think he'll want to play. And if Cook says to him, "I'd like to keep you, but you're not going to be first choice," then it's up to him to make a decision, isn't it?
Jonathan Stringer.
I was watching Real Madrid Ibar yesterday on La Liga TV, and they've got exactly the same issue with Ramos. He's 35. He wants a 2-year deal. Real Madrid have said to him, "Unless you sign this deal by this date, goodbye." I just see Mike D's comment in there when they, Real Madrid, you can't be sentimental with these things. Raul, absolute Real Madrid legend. Off he went. Ramos, probably going to go.
Our Posh fan. Posh only have 2 out-and-out centre-backs in Beavers and Kent. The 3 others, Thompson, Butler and Blake Tracy, who can play both centre-back and full-back. I mean, again, do I want money tied up in Chambers' contract to play 10 games a season, or a striker? A striker who might win me promotion. Because Luke Chambers ain't winning anyone promotion. Mate, prove me wrong, Luke. Prove me wrong. Stephen Parry, like Terry when he was number first, like Chelsea and John Terry. You've got to break eventually, haven't you, Dave? You've just got to say eventually. There's a point where you've just got to go enough.
Because you can't keep him forever, can you? Because otherwise, you're
exactly.
Season after you say, give him another season and give him another season. You can't. You've got to. It's got to be hard. That you've got to make these tough decisions, and that's what you pay these guys to do.
Absolutely, it's really good seeing you on the show, Dave, for a debut.
He's going to end up stopping other players come through and getting chances as well.
100%. Yeah,
absolutely. And my issue with the whole Chambers or Skews and both as coaching, at some point do you end up with too many coaches, a coaching budget that's too big, and perhaps spending more money on your coaches than your pissing team? Like,
well, he's not going to. He wouldn't keep him as a coach, I don't think, because he actually wants to get Liam Richardson in from Wigan, doesn't he? That's the go-to, really. And so you've already got Jimmy Walker, you've already got Gill, you've already got Roberts. That's a big bench already, I think.
Yeah. That's his biggest signing, I think, guys, in the summer. His assistant. All about the players. Yeah, you need new players in, but he needs that trusted number 2. But I see this morning, Matt, they reckon they might try and keep him at Wigan.
Well, Barry
said that.
Barry
said that. I was reading this morning.
Dave? Sorry, Dave?
He's doing a half-decent job there at the moment.
Doing his best, isn't he? Yeah, with his hands tied behind his back. Absolutely, yeah.
And Barry, who was from the Wigan podcast, said that he may not want to leave or go this far south and leave some family up there. So interesting time. Rochdale tomorrow, Dave. Norwood could be out. What do you do? I'm asking everybody this today. What do you do up front if Norwood can't play?
It's like polishing a turd, really, isn't it?
The Bristol School chart.
I do not know what you could do. It's got to be Jackson. You've got to play two up front because we haven't got enough. Nobody can play one up front. Nobody's good enough to play one on their own. Norwood's the only one who can do that to a certain extent. So you've got to play two up front. And basically you've got to play Jackson and someone else. So whether that be Jackson and Parrott or Jackson and Brennan or Jackson even the Hawkins or Simpson or throw someone else in, do something strange, but I can't see. I'm glad I ain't got that problem.
Absolutely. Yeah. Dave, real pleasure seeing you on the show. Hopefully come back to us. Look
Cheers,
up.
Dave.
Enjoy your Sunday. Mike D. Ghana missed the North. Look where he ended up.
Please put in the chat there, Chambers under 23 coaching team. You won't need him. You've got Dyer. You've got Butcher. It's interesting. Kieran Dyer's been involved with the first team on a match day.
Yeah. Good to see.
Yeah. Cook's like that, though. I mean, the more I listen to Cook, and if he carries on winning, the more I will like him. Like he said on Friday. He said on Friday, I want to play a certain way, but I've realised these players can't do it. So I'm going to change my philosophy, change my approach, and get the best I can out. That was music to my ears and everything I've been calling for. Like, we know you want to play.
It's also desperation. Isn't it? Because he's not changed his formation for anybody in his entire career. He's come here, he's got to redo it. Because
he, like me, can't ignore these 10, 15 games. You can't just say, that don't count. You know, you've got to at some point show your voice and your message translates to...
And a highlight of a match day is Cook's post-match interview, Matt, because it's the voice control. He has about 3 different voices. It is absolutely incredible, his tone of voice, isn't it?
How is Brenner keeping a straight face? Because it goes
unbelievable.
It's up there.
I think I like it now, but it will grow very tired very quickly if results don't follow. Because there's only so many times you can have a man to tell you what you already know, that this group is bad or this, that, or the other, before you go fix it.
He's honest. He's honest.
And if someone's
honest,
go away.
If someone's honest, you're going to... Look, the manager before wasn't honest, was he?
No, but Mick was. And in the end, we all loved it. We all ate it. We all bought it. And then come year 3 or year 2 or year 4, when the results aren't going your way, you do start saying, well, you're the manager. Fix it.
Mick was honest, but stubborn, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I'll be honest. It's my way or the highway, wasn't it? Exactly that. I mean, it's nice to see Cook trying to adapt, because Lambert didn't adapt to anything. And like you said, he'd try and paper over that, Rich, by saying it was an incredible performance, and we all knew.
You say about McCarthy was sort of stubborn. Have you watched the Jack Charlton documentary yet?
I've not seen it yet.
He was so stubborn. He was. It's interesting. You'll see Mick on there as a youngster. It's great, brilliant. If anyone hasn't watched it, go to the iPro and watch it, because it's a real great watch, but it's real sad as well.
Moving it on from Bristol Rovers. Obviously, before the game, there was some action from Blue Action. I was about to hit the air, so my memory of it is a bit hazy, but it was a banner, wasn't it? 5 men and a dog and a banner outside the gates of Portman Road. Paul Cook spoke to them. King Callie's going to join us now. King, welcome in, my man. How you doing?
Hey, Callie. How you doing?
You have your hat off. Fresh trim. What have you got? You?
Oh, fresh trim, mate. Fresh trim.
Looking good, man. Looking good. Talk to me, Callie.
Around here anyway.
You've got some thoughts on the Blue Action. There was some chatter on Twitter. I just before I allow you to have your say, I just want to bring up Graham Brooks' poll, because there was some back and forth, I think, with Amy Downs' dad, actually, in regards to the Blue Action. And he put a poll out saying, who agrees with Blue Action's latest protest, or who says stick by Evans? 90.8%. Hang on, wait, 9% said back Evans. Good grief. But apparently 9% said back Blue Action. Callie, I'm going to go on lips to the lure. We're back in 5 seconds. What did you make of it, Crunch? Over to you.
Now, for me, I'm all for it, because they start. I know we've talked before, and I think Martin said before when he spoke to the Wigan guys that they were going to manage like bigger numbers, and I know we want bigger numbers and everything, but the fact we've got some numbers, and I know, we can take the piss out of how many numbers there was at the training ground or whatever, but it was effective. There was a ripple effect after it. It got the media talking about it. It had like club players, former players talking about it, and there was all of a sudden a bit of pressure. You can't tell me that didn't play a factor in Lambert leaving. Whether Lambert, the pressure got to him and said, right, I'm going to do this media tour now and I'm going to out Evans, or whether Evans said, okay, yeah, it's a bit too much pressure. So they are doing the right thing. But there was some interesting conversations where, just in Yates's thing, Yates's artwork there. There's another one I need to hang up as well.
I'm still waiting, Yatesy, for me Paul Cook one.
Yeah.
He's going to do me one.
But so there was some interesting conversations around Marcus Evans, and one of the guys on my Twitter who, generally we disagree on everything. I don't want to call him a troll because that's a bit harsh or whatever. I don't think he's a troll like that. He's not like a nasty or nothing. But there is a lot of disagreements, and he wasn't saying he was a fan of Evans, but he was putting a point across that actually, is he back in the club? He's doing this, and if we get a director of football, that's all we need. The problem I've got is he's only back in the club now in terms of like a competitive salary, and I talked about it before when we broke the 5-point plan down. He's only talked about it in terms of competitive salary now in League One. We were, I think, 16th. Highest payers, so like 16th in terms of our wage structure in the Championship. So we weren't competitive at all. We weren't even in the top 10. So it's only now in the lower leagues we're being competitive. So he hasn't done
fourth lowest, Callie, when we were in the Championship. 4th lowest wage bill.
That's what I mean. Yeah, sorry. But he hasn't done anything apart from bring the academy players through. But then, as Martin said at the time when I talked about it, was he's probably had his hand forced because we're not buying players. So you've got to go for what's coming, for your academy line and everything. So for me personally, Evans has to go, and Blue Action at the moment are the only ones that are doing something. We can all be on Twitter, we can all do that. And yes, I know there's a pandemic and everything and all the rest of it. Times are easing and everything, but just the action they're doing, it's enough to get people talking about it. And the thing is everyone's got their own opinion, whether you disagree with them or not. The thing that kind of it irritates me a bit is, fair enough if you don't disagree with them, but what are the alternatives? Like, let's have a look at an alternative plan or whatever, unless you are pro Evans, because I think Graham's poll was misleading. I think it's more 90% of the fan base want Evans gone, and 5% probably want to keep him. But even that 5% is, you know what I mean? But that's where I stand with it.
Perfect. Stephen, can you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah.
Stephen Parry, paying the bills is a responsibility, not an investment, which I do agree with.
We don't pay them on time either, does he?
Well, sometimes not. Where are you two with it then? I disagree in the sense of they're the only ones doing it. I really do, and this might be break my own arm and pat myself on the back, but I think shows like this continue to hold feet to the fire. People say Marcus doesn't listen. I disagree. He does listen. You can't help but listen when you're on a football club. I'm not touching the dials. I'm not turning them off, I promise.
Callie's frozen.
Callie's gone.
Frozen.
That wasn't me. That wasn't my doing. Look, my hands are cleaning this, I swear to God, said George.
He'll be back.
I'll just drop him out. Wave to me when you're back, Callie. Crunch, what do you think about the whole action?
See, look, we had a bit of a ding dong yesterday, didn't we, on the WhatsApp?
You flounced out again.
Hey?
I'm going to do some gardening. That's what he said, wasn't it? That's what he said.
I'm doing some gardening. That's what he said. No, look, I like what they bring. Matt loves the displays, and look, they're doing something. We can all sit on our hands, and a lot of people, like I said to you, there's a lot of people on social media who say this, that, and the other. But when push comes to shove, if we take it back to 2009, it was before social media. I get called bedsheet. Now, I'd done something. I actually done something. We had a protest. And it's easy people saying, get rid of Evans, get rid of Evans. When push comes to shove, there was a protest. It was at the Swindon game. They organised it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Matt Phillips up there moaning about Evans said he wouldn't turn up. It's all right giving it the big un. You did. You said you weren't going to turn up. So it's all right. We make loads of noise, but
that's one person. But
you know, a lot of people on social media, they're full of hot air, aren't they? When push comes to shove, would they actually be there? I know Mike Brown, the fisherman, he'd be there because he just needs him and 9 others. He'd definitely be there.
Yeah.
I'd be there.
My question to you, Matt, is that they're never given the opportunity. These people are always criticised, like Cruncher's doing here, saying you don't do anything, you sit on your hands. Barry from Wigan was telling me they got 200 people plus arranged to go down the club to protest at how slow the consortium takeover was going. When it went through, that changed from a protest to a party. Then the club and the new owner got involved and said, please don't come. We'll do a party when it's safe to do so. But that was a big number, right?
Yeah.
My problem is you don't ever give the fans an opportunity to sit on their hands and do nothing and prove that they don't want to do it, because you just do it under the cover of darkness or like that. And I'm sorry, 5p on a banner, display-wise, because it's you love your whole display, it does look rather tin pot.
Well, my reasoning for not wanting to go to the Swindon one was because it was too pre-planned. They're working with the police and it's going to have to be socially distant. It all just sounded a bit lame to me. I applaud why they're doing it. But the best protest is like, when people like Celtic went down to Parkhead and just were outside, spur of the moment. That's what got.
We're looking on social media anyway. How do we organise these things then, Matt?
Well, this is the problem I've got with Blue Action, right? Because I think their creativity is fantastic. 10 out of 10. I love the banners.
It is.
As I've said previously, I like ultra culture. I've read into it a lot. The banners are fantastic. So really, really good. Really, and the fact they had Blame and Name and ME coloured out, I thought it was really good, really clever.
Yeah.
But the problem they've got, their strength is also their weakness, because they like Banksy, aren't they? Oh, look, Blue Action has suddenly appeared overnight and they've done this. But it'll be much better in order to be able to have more people with them, with the banner. Do you know what I mean?
I'd love them to come on here. I've asked them to come on here before and they've said no. And I'd love them to come on here and have a say. They can come on here. You can wear a mask. You can wear a balaclava. You don't have to put your face on screen.
The thing is, Rich, they could go on. Look, it's not about us or this show or this platform. They can go on any podcast they bloody want. I don't think they galvanise the fan base the way they could, because people look at them, rightly or wrongly, as the forefront, the runners, the people that take us where we want to go as a fan base, but they don't bring the rest of us with us. They turn around and say, look at our banner, and we're all going, oh, wow, yeah, that's great. But then the club take it down, it gets one press release, and it's over with.
It's an Instagram protest, isn't it? It looks good on social media, and that's where they are galvanising their audience. So it's very visual based. But yeah, what's the longevity of it? Well, people talk about it, like Callie said, absolutely. But then you've got channels like us and the Blue Monday and whatever. They're having those same discussions, just a different platform. That's all.
But I'll bring you back in, Callie, here. Sure, I mean, it's a great, as Matt says, banners look great. It's great. The message is great. Completely agree. But wouldn't it look so much better for the players, for Paul Cook, for the club, to the media, if you turn up and instead of 5 man and his dog, you've got 100 people, 50 people, 200 people, and you can do it socially distanced. You can all do it.
Listen, I get that, and I did approach him. I said, look, how do we get involved or whatever? And there is like a thing where it's like, okay, it's not even like a membership like that, but it's like, in that section of where they sit or whatever, right? They're all kind of the members or whatever. So get involved in that section and you can do that. But there's other ways to do it as well. There's other ways to be involved. Now, they've only started protesting now, and it's just sod's law. It's happened during a pandemic. I think if there wasn't a pandemic, I think that would have been slightly different.
But Callie,
and
that's my football club. I will not be told when I can and when I can't go to my football club. That's my club.
People are scared. People are scared to go to Sainsbury's or whatever. People don't want to go out or whatever because of this COVID or whatever. So, and that's their own opinion or whatever. People don't want to stay at home, and some people might be isolating. Whatever, fine, right? But it's happened during a pandemic. This is sleepy Suffolk we're talking about in terms of Ipswich. Not very known for having, whether it's Wigan that you were talking about. It is true. The further north you go, the more hardcore you get in terms of the football fans, right?
Yeah,
that's the way I see it. But I think it's one of those where I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, like platforms like this, like Blue Monday, they talk about Evans and about the kind of using that as a protest. I think Carl Fuller does a great column, and his columns he said it before. His column is a consistent protest of Evans or whatever. But sometimes it's having that physical protest. We're football, we're old school, and I'm sorry I'm going to mention this, but sometimes just having a bed sheet is good enough, to actually physically be there. Listen, Rich did something how long ago, and people still talk about it. So it's an impact. It's an impact. They talk about that probably more than they talk about the headlines, which is.
I made the end of season DVD. I'm on the end of season DVD. Unbelievable.
I'm well annoyed because I was there with him, and I'm nowhere. I'm nowhere.
Mike was there as well. The fisherman was there.
Fishman's on there.
He's in there.
But yeah, I'm down with Blue Action, and any way I can support them, I will. I'm anyone that's got an idea about how we get protest Evans, I'm all for it as well, because Evans for me needs to go. I think if he's going to be here in the summer, we talk about all these wholesale changes. We don't need to get rid of the defence. We're only going to make a few changes or whatever, so we need to concentrate on attacking and creating players.
It needs a total reboot, doesn't it, Callie? When they come out with that nonsense with the new scouting system bollocks that they're going to use, it's like Mick Mill said, it's 5 years out of date. But what I don't like, I agree with. I don't know if you listen to Graham Mack. Why do we keep saying what we're going to do? Why don't you just go out and do something? Don't keep saying we're going to do this, we're going to do that. 5-point plan. Forget all that.
Someone mentioned it. It might have been Graham Brooks, Diary Tractable. I think he said, it's convenient that they've mentioned this and season tickets renewal have been delayed or whatever. And it's all kind of like trying to put a spin on like we're Ipswich or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just all going to a shit hole with Evans. But the latest is that the deal may not be going through. So fuck knows.
Well, you've got one person's tweet for that. You haven't got anything concrete either way for
you've only got exactly. On the other side, you've only got one person's thread on those were the days.
Yeah,
you haven't got anything concrete.
Greyhound's supposed to be quick, Matt, but he's not leading the way there. But sorry, I've been planning that all morning. I'm sorry, that's a shite joke. I do miss Greyhound racing. To be fair, I've not been in a long time. Hey, I'm all for Blue Action, all for it. My frustration, I suppose, with the headbutt against the wall is that I want to be brought with it, and I want to bring others with it. And it always comes across as us and them. Like, we're doing it for you, but we don't want you with us.
It's like a snowball, shouldn't it? Like a snowball effect. And it just keeps getting bigger. That's what they should do. You should want more people on board, surely.
But I think as momentum gathers, right, against Evans in terms of, where the longer he's the owner of this club. So the longer he's the owner and he doesn't start selling up or whatever, and as restrictions start easing and we start coming out, I think you will see things. Because I think they did make a very public one at one of the games where they protested. They had some people outside the stadium, and they were going to do something there. And that was during, the actual lockdown. So not even a tier restriction. That was a lockdown that they did it. So fair play to them for that. Now, as restrictions are eased, I can't see why they won't put like a Facebook event up or whatever and say, right, be here or whatever, and this is where we're going to protest. You'll see numbers, I think, and it will just grow.
Stephen Parry, I don't know. Is that Stephen Parry?
I do all the cooking in this house. The one time she puts that oven on, look at that look. She's set fire to the gas. Come on, right. And this is why I do all the cooking in my house. This is why I do it all. Talking to Stephen Parry, I think they know after the restrictions they know they will get more support. Yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Jay Cotton, the club treats the fans like shareholders, come out with some BS every year before season tickets go on sale. Jonathan Stringer, how much is season ticket behind the goal at Ipswich? I don't know. I don't sit behind the goal.
I think lower tier is about 350, isn't it?
Yeah, but then we go on about season tickets. We still don't know what's happening with this season's one, so they can't put the next season ones on sale before we find out about what we're going to get back from.
Did you not read the minutes of that supporters group thing? So they talked about it there, and they said originally, so someone from the club said they wanted to propose that they take all the iFollow cost away from it, so 240 quid, 230 quid or whatever. But then I think they're looking at doing it as a flat rate of about 150 quid.
See, what did Millwall do, Matt? I think they gave money back, didn't they?
Yeah, you did. They've done the same where you just pay 40 quid for the upcoming season or something.
Yeah.
Looked a good deal from what I saw of it briefly.
We're Tim Pot, aren't we? Let's be honest. While the man stays in charge. Yeah, there is a takeover going on, whether it's on or off at the moment. And if I'm Marcus, I don't want to pay you because I want them to pay you. So that's going to be a part of the conversation. I've got no doubt about it. Mark Warren, unless Evans invests in the team properly, he needs to sell. The potential at Ipswich Town is massive. There's no reason whatsoever why Ipswich can't be great again. Yeah, fair point. Tweedy, MK Donton tickets next season are £10 a game, so around 240 quid. My ticket behind the goal is 439 at Peterborough. That's quite a lot, to be fair.
That seems lumpy.
Yeah, your favourite. Your favourite quote. Callie, as always, love you.
Cheers, guys.
Look after yourself.
Oh, man.
Hey, buddy.
Let's move it on. I'm sure we've got a wonderful. And we're going to fly through these because the ladies are about to kick off. So, Crunch, what's your goat this week?
A couple of things from the England game. Well, not just the England game. I've had enough of fake crowd noise. What a load of nonsense that is. It's what, like when Sterling got brought down for the penalty, then you hear booing. Hang on, we're playing at Wembley. What the fuck's that about? And another thing, get rid of Sam Matterface and Lee Dixon. Come on, ITV. You got Clive Tilsley. Look, what a great commentator he is. They've got rid of him. I remember Brian Moore. Do you remember Brian Moore?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sam Matterface. Get rid of him. That's it. That's my go.
I'm worried the fake crowd noise might be here to stay because there's people employed now to press a button, and you know how TV companies love to. Well, they don't love the swearing. They don't love people coming over the microphones. I'm worried, regardless, that it's here to stay. Anyway, Matt, what's your goat?
My goat's just a continuation of what we were talking about earlier about this recruitment. Lee O'Neill coming out and saying a lot. This is what I've written on my phone here. A lot of the bigger clubs are using data and stats as a big part of their recruitment. The days of just going off someone's opinion are going. I mean, welcome to the year 2000. I mean, I just think it's like laughable. They just discovered a PC in the corner of the training ground, taken off a dusty old sheet and gone, "Oh, what's this do?"
Yeah, Windows 95. Windows 95.
We've been talking about this for ages. I mean, it was just when I first saw it, it landed on April Fools. I hate when people put out things like this on April Fools. You just think it's a joke, and it just adds to this kind of we're behind the curve again. Do you know what I mean? They should have been doing this 5, 6, 7, 8 a decade ago.
But I think if you look at the club website or LinkedIn or something, there are analysts mentioned. So what are they doing? Playing tiddlywinks? Like,
well, I would imagine if it was anything like we used to have at the FA and analysts, is that they are at the games with a feed showing, and then they're concentrating on players and they're recording, you know, kilometers covered during the game and all that kind of thing. It's that kind of analyst.
What, a recruitment analyst?
Not as a recruitment analyst, no.
Because there's somebody called, and again, Wikipedia is never always correct, but somebody called Alex Hood, who is listed as a recruitment analyst. So what is he analysing? Well, if he exists, what is he analysing?
Yeah, exactly.
Or is it I'm really sorry, I promise to be a bit different, almost a relationship plea. I promise to be different next year if you pay for your season tickets.
Yeah.
That's what it comes across as.
I just thought, well, we had suspicions they were probably just sending scouts like they were doing in the 80s, Bobby Robson era, to games. But come on, this is well behind the curve. It's quite embarrassing, actually. Hence, I thought it was an April Fool's joke.
Yeah. Jonathan Stringer, my goat, and we do welcome goats, by the way, guys, is goal nets now, all the same, not even pegged down, looks terrible when net base jumps up. Yeah, bring back blue nets. Bring back home-coloured nets. That's what I want.
We had. I remember that.
With the old goal stanchions,
I love the stanchion.
The old semicircle. Oh, yes, you can't beat that when it pings in there. Rob Pooley, friends with Alex. Alex Hood is real. So if Wikipedia is to be believed, he is a recruitment analyst at Ipswich Town. So what is he recruiting and what is he analysing? Get him on the show. Get him on. We want to talk to him. Luke, if you're watching, you're the man for that sort of thing. Get him involved. Dave Eaton, our recruitment analyst, must have been on gardening leave for the past decade. Right, moving it on to, let's go for this. What is your medium Mogul story today, my man?
Yeah, so going continental again. Who remember, while we're all lamenting the fact we're playing Bristol Rovers and Rochdale, it's about 20 years ago we played Inter Milan, and they've been in the news this week because it's their 113th anniversary. And to modernise the club and to follow in the footsteps Juventus have done, you might remember they modernised their badge, went from their old traditional badge to just the letter J, to be more commercially aware. This is exactly what Inter Milan are doing. So, Martin, have you got the graphic there?
I certainly have. Which one do you want? Because you've sent me two.
Yeah, the one with the two badges together.
There we go. So
the one on the left there is the iconic Inter Milan badge. So they had that from 1908 in various different formats, and this is what they've gone to. So it's the I and the M. So instead of actually being called their official name, which is Football Club Internazionale Milan, they're just going to be known as Inter Milano. going forward. So they want to try and modernise. They want them to be more of a world brand rather than just a club. But they've not always had these badges. They had this other one as well. Have you got the snake there?
Wait for this.
That was traditionally their badge from this 1978 through to about 1990.
That's the Matt Phillips drawing.
Yeah, the snake is the icon of Milan. It's their national badge of the city. So they had that for a while. But it just struck me as like, Pirelli's not going to be on their shirt anymore. Again, we're talking about holding on to things that Ipswich we've had for years. They're also suing Inter Milan. Inter Milan are suing Inter Miami over the word Inter. They say it's a copyright infringement. So they're trying to take Beckham to court over that at the moment. They say
it's not Inter Milan, is it? It's international. It's international. It's what it stands for. Because
they've always been known as Inter. You say Inter. Yeah. So they've taken Inter Miami to court over that. So it's all going on in Milan at the moment. It's all going on.
Because I guess they've moved. They haven't moved away. I suppose AC Milan have kind of moved away. Because it was originally, if I'm right in thinking this, AC was Italian-based players predominantly, and international. Inter Milan was international. I'm not sure. I think the two worked together to begin with, and they became splintered. So that would make sense. Obviously, they share the stadium. But it's got me thinking. Would people want? We get the takeover if it happens, and you get no ownership. Take Ipswich to a new era. Ipswich 2.0. Would you want a new badge? Do we think the horses, the Suffolk punches now out there? Would you want to go to the ITFC?
What about Cardiff, Matt? What about Cardiff when they tried to change the kit colour?
Yeah, that was big extreme, that wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
But they're trying to rebrand, take themselves into a new era, try and compete with Juventus. The two go hand in hand in Italian football. So it'd be interesting to see how they progress from here. They've got huge money problems as well, Winter. Huge money problems. So they need to grow their international brand in order to, to be competitive.
I've not kept track with Italian football to be really honest. So I couldn't tell you what's going on either way. I was trying to get our new badge, which should be the Windows 95 logo, but I can't get it in time. So that's what it should be. Let's be honest. It should be Windows 95. I'm going to do your one last. I think I'm going to close on yours, Crunch. I think it's a really good one to close on.
You just need to watch it. Doesn't need words.
Exactly. Aidan Pearson, welcome in, Aidan. The new badge spells out tit if you look closer. Ben Moore, have they let a 5-year-old on paint with that snake badge? Yeah, well, that's what I thought. I thought it's another Matt Phillips creation coming my way.
0-0, by the way. 0-0 after 4 minutes.
Dave Eaton, sort out what goes on the pitch first. Right, last few minutes, because Mogul has to go for his Sunday roast.
What we got today? Lamb? Leg of lamb?
I'm going down my mouth to pick it up again. Yeah, we've got lamb, we've got beef, we've got chicken, we've got it all going on.
Oh,
I've got lamb, me. A nice leg of lamb. Crunch, what have you got for Easter Sunday?
We have got lamb. Yeah, there is lamb.
Beautiful. Right, Rochdale tomorrow. Predictions very quickly. What do we expect?
Not a classic.
No, I don't think it's going to be a classic. I'm expecting Parrott and Jackson to be up top because I think they work together well. I think it was a 3-5-2 Friday, so I think they're going to do that again. I hope we can sneak it. As Jonathan was saying, they gave Peterborough a good game. I think we'll sneak it 2-1. That's what I'm going to go for.
2-1. Okay.
Yeah.
Crunch?
Not expecting much. 1-0.
I tell you something. I read this morning. Can't find it now. Good prep here at Talking Town Towers. I was busy playing Football Manager. Going to check. Right. The Rochdale have the game sponsored by Rochdale.
Yeah, they've been sponsored.
Exiles? Is it Exiles?
Yeah.
And they've never lost a game in 15 years.
15
I was paying
years.
attention. 15 years. So for those wanting to win, the omens are against us. Ben Moore's gone 2-2. Ivan's gone 4-1. Lee's gone 2-1. I love Ivan. I mean, that would be the seventh heaven. Nick Muller, draw 2-2. You did it the last one, right? And Rob 1-0. Look, we've got to win, right? We need 7 wins. Well, 6 wins now. We need this. As Paul Cook said on Friday, win tomorrow. Go into MK Dons off the back of 2. Why can't you win 3 on the bounce? And then it sets up a tasty tie with Charlton. It really does.
Yeah, definitely.
So we've got to play our part in this now. We've got to play our part and step up and make it interesting. Why not?
It's not going to be an easy game. They're going to be fighting for their lives, aren't they? Bottom of the league.
Yeah, but they're bottom of the league for a reason, right? So come on, let's get into that mindset.
3-0, Aaron Drennan hat-trick. Why not? Pigs will fly, won't they? I mean, let's be honest. Right, let's close today's show. As always, we are live tomorrow with the match day ticket. Joining myself is our wonderful designer, George, who made a fantastic debut on the Monday Night Show last week, and a debut to TJ. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he brings.
Look at this squad. Look at the squad you've built here. It just keeps growing, doesn't it?
I'm like Lambert. I'm wheeling and dealing, putting the best combos out.
We'll nearly have 51. We'll nearly have 51 on the books soon, won't you?
Nearly, yeah, nearly. Luckily, I'm not paying anybody. Otherwise, it'd be astronomical, the wage bill. So, to close, we're live tomorrow from 2:30. Match day ticket. Hope you can join us.
Are we back Tuesday?
We are back Tuesday, yes, with some blockbuster stuff coming up. I've got no doubt about it. So, we're going to close now with let's play your jingle, because everyone loves a good jingle, don't they? Right. Crunch, talk us through what it is, first of all, while I set it up.
11 years yesterday was this great bit of TV from Gillette Soccer Saturday, which that could have been another goat, because not the same, is it? It's not the same now. Now they've got rid of it. So this is Portsmouth Blackburn, Fratton Park. Jeff Stelling goes over to Cammy, and then just watch it.
Here we go.
Watch it, 'cause it's an absolute classic.
Until tomorrow, with love, with care, this will play us out.
Fratton Park, where there's been a red card, but for who, Chris Kamara?
I don't know, Jeff, has it? I must have missed that. Red card.
Chris, have you not been watching? I haven't. I don't know where that's come from, Chris. I have no idea what has happened there. What's happened, Chris?
I don't know, Jeff. I don't know. The rain must have got in my eyes, Jeff.
Well, Chris, let me tell you, according to our sources, Anthony Van Den Boer has been sent off for a second bookable offence. Get your fingers out and count up the number of Portsmouth players who are on the field.
No, you're right. I saw him go off, but I thought they were bringing a sub on, Jeff.